Inec won against violence for the governorship and state assembly election coming up on Saturday, March 18th.
Exactly, to Saturday's governorship and House of Assembly elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has advised political parties and their supporters not to see the polls as war, but as a contest. INEC Chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, disclosed this yesterday at a meeting of Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security ahead of the elections. The Commission revealed that duly certified copies of Form EC8D and EC8DA have been made available to the legal teams of the People's Democratic Party and All Progressive Congress APC. It says the team were yesterday allowed to inspect the original copies. The Rise correspondent Chinasa Samuel tells us more.
In a few days, Nigerians will once again go to the polls to elect new leaders to oversee their legislative affairs at the state level. 28 out of 36 governorship seats and 993 state assembly seats are up for grabs, and for the electoral body, the task is no small feat.
The governorship and state assembly elections this weekend involves more constituencies than the national elections held about 3 weeks ago. There will also be more candidates involved and more collation centers to protect.
That forms part of the reason for this meeting between INEC and the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. The main objective is to review the security preparations for the polls and ensure the safety of voters and election officials.
For the security agencies, I know a lot has been done. So far, so good. We do not envisage anything that's going to be terrible or apocalyptic in terms of the next few days. Anybody who is itching to undermine this process should please think again. And we're also calling on the political bigwigs, the gladiators, to call their lieutenants to order.
The meeting comes just as the Nigerian Police Force says it has arrested 203 persons for various electoral offences and recovered 18 firearms from political thugs during the presidential and National Assembly elections. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Monguno, says there is synergy between security, intelligence and law enforcement agencies to ensure safety for all. He's asking voters to go out and vote for their choices.
Those of us in the security agencies will continue to work round the clock. All the crisis centers are open. All the communication systems are also open. And we've been talking with the chairman of INEC. If there's anything that needs to be done, anything that needs to be added, my office is always open, ready and available to give that support. Once again,
just as the Inspector General of Police has also directed commissioners of police to ensure that investigations in all cases of violations against the 2022 Electoral Act are concluded and the case files forwarded to INEC for prosecution.
It is therefore important for parties and candidates to speak to their agents and supporters to see the elections as a contest and not war.
While INEC intensifies its effort in preparations for the polls, many Nigerians are hopeful that the electoral body will conduct an election that will be free, fair and acceptable to majority of the citizens after the initial backlash that followed the outcome of the presidential election. Chinasa Samuel, Arise News.
All right, good report there from Chinasa Samuel. Ayo?
Yes, absolutely. So again, a few days to the gubernatorial and State House of Assembly elections, we would have meetings like this where security and other election matters would be on the front burner to ensure that the elections on Saturdays are smooth and effective as possible. As one of the things out, the headline states, contest, not war. And let me dial back to what we've seen in this election. Of course, elections are quite emotive and a lot of passion involved. However, these passions should not, or this passion should not lead to violence, or should still ensure that people are able to live together peacefully. On a lighter side, we've seen family members who have even gone against each other because of their stance or who they're supporting. And of course, online, like never before, we've seen surrogates and, as Major General Babagana Monguno retired, says, the gladiators and their lieutenants who have come out to really behave almost badly towards the last elections we had. And so this is a call for Nigerians, the principal actors, and of course their followers and supporters to ensure that they are not at war. Instead, to see this as a contest to electing the best hands to lead and steer the great ship that is Nigeria. Compared to the last election, the presidential elections, they had 470 constituents. So it was just for the seats of the president, office of the president, and the National Assembly. In this case, there are 1,021 constituents, meaning that there are many more players in this election. Therefore, it is a good idea to pick up lessons from the last election, and which we've talked about a number of times, to ensure that we don't have or repeat the same mistakes. Unfortunately, historically, we often don't pick up vital lessons, but we're trusting and hopeful, as the report says, that Inec and the security agencies will handle the elections on Saturday a lot better. Assurances have been given. Inec chairman yesterday, we played the video where he assured, and today again, from the meeting yesterday, he's assuring Nigerians alongside the security operatives. One of the big things that marred the last election, which also led to voter suppression, was security. So I'm hoping that security agencies would pick up lessons from the last one and ensure that Nigerians are able to exercise their franchise in peace.
Well, yesterday there was a meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. That particular committee had been meeting even before the elections. And, yesterday we were told that the meeting was about, crossing the T's and dotting the I's and ensuring final preparations for this Saturday's general election, March 18. Now, at that meeting, both the chairman of Inec and the National Security Advisor, General Munguno, were appealing to political parties and candidates to see this as a contest, not as war. Well, we have reached a level now where, the INEC and also the National Security Advisor are appealing to the good conscience of Nigerian politicians. Would they heed that appeal or advice? On February 25, we witnessed cases of ballot snatching, voter suppression, voter intimidation, and in fact, in one instance, one woman was stabbed in the face. In another instance, ballot boxes were stolen and set ablaze in the full glare of the security agencies. The security agencies did not do well on February 25. Beyond the appeal, the Interagency Security Committee, we just need to make sure that the police and other security agencies protect the people. To rely on the good conscience of the political parties will be too much to ask for. If the law is not enforced, then the reign of impunity is encouraged. At the back of this, the Inspector General of Police says, electoral offenses will be dealt with expeditiously this weekend. The same thing that the police did not do on February 25. And that all the police commands have been given strict instructions to ensure that there is, law and order. Well, we wait to see that, because that's the expectation of Nigerians, that nobody will be intimidated, that nobody will snap ballot boxes, and that whoever tries to compromise the process will be made to face the full wrath of the law. Hopefully, the Nigerian police, that is the lead security agency in this process, will wake up and do its job after being given resources by President Muhammadu Buhari to live up to expectations. Another thing that came out of that meeting yesterday was the INEC chairman announcing that the People's Democratic Party and the APC lawyers have been given access to forms EC8D and also form EC8DA, and certified true copies of election materials for them to be able to check the materials following the court order. Well, I didn't see the chairman of INEC mentioning the Labour Party, because the Labour Party has also been insisting that INEC must obey the order of court. But in terms of expectations, Nigerians expect that INEC and all the other committees and agencies involved will do a better job this time around. We're going to local elections in over 1,000 constituencies, as they pointed out, which means that the stakes are higher. It means also that more is expected from all these agencies to whom much has been given.
Election is not supposed to be war. I concur totally with Inec chairman, Professor Yakubu. But the truth is, it is only in Nigeria and most parts of the world where politicians are not popular and they try as much as possible to win at all costs, elections become war. And that's why the state must stand up tall. It is when politicians want to steal an election, elections become war. It is when politicians want to do their own bidding alone, elections become war. Just like elections became war in America because Trump wanted to win at all costs and use violence to win. In an ideal sense, it's not supposed to be war. But it can become war because of selfish, wicked, and terrible politicians. Nigerian elections have become war because we have wicked and selfish politicians that only think about themselves and their children, but they lie that they care about you. Ballot box snatching last elections, last Saturday, 25th February, a couple of Saturdays ago, was a reflection of the wickedness of the political class. But the question we should also ask INEC is, what role did they play in this? Till today, INEC has not told us why it did not transmit results on IREV. That's why people are agitated. Till today, INEC has not told us the nature of its technical glitch. The Minister of Information came out to say that there were over 12 million cyber attacks during the elections. But INEC has not told us. So for peace to reign, INEC should also tell us what was the technical glitch like. And INEC should maintain and respect the rule of law. It's as simple as that. We all want peace, because it is only with peace we can have progress and development. But we can't also have peace without justice, fairness, and equity. And the politicians that are fomenting trouble for their own selfish gains, they should remember that what goes around comes around. Elections shouldn't be war. We want peace, but justice must be done to bring the peace. The 5 leading contestants for the seat of governor of Delta State will today lock horns in a debate organized by Rise TV at 7 p.m. The program will run for 2 hours, 30 minutes and will feature Senator Ovioma Agigi of All Progressive Congress, APC, Chief Great Ovejo Ogboro of All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, Dikin Kempela of the Labour Party, Right Honorable Sheriff Oboriwore of the People's Democratic Party, and Chief Kenneth Gbagi of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. The candidates are expected to tell Deltans their various plans regarding Delta's economy, security, education, healthcare, among others. So we've got a debate coming up in Delta State.
Tonight. I must say that Arise News is famous, or perhaps popular for staging world-class debates at presidential level, as we saw during the presidential debate, and of course at governorship level. I'm glad that we're doing this in Delta State. And now we see that the people, the Nigerian people, our politics is more intelligent. It has been elevated. People are no longer looking at, oh, not just, oh, this person is this person, or I know this person, I'll vote. They want to listen to your ideas. You would notice that in this cycle of elections, we've had the candidates come up to speak more about their plans, whether they're saying it off by heart or reading from a sheet. They share their plans with the people because people want to know what you have in store for them. Now, the opportunity that a debate like this presents in a state is that Nigerians who, it's almost as if you have a job offer and then you want to interview the candidates who would emerge as the best to then earn your voters to taking on that role. This is the office of the citizen, and the power is on the office of the citizen to elect whom they feel is best to represent them or perhaps lead that particular state. And that's the brilliant thing that we're having tonight. At tonight's debate, the focus would be around some key issues in the states, in Delta State, for instance, and across states, I would say. Well, we have economy on the table, we have security on the table, we have education, healthcare, and of course, other topics that will be covered tonight during the debate. I'm particularly excited because, as we've seen in the past, it's usually a two-horse race. But as we've said again and again, perhaps that's now the old style of politics in Nigeria, and the new embraces more hats thrown into the ring. And like you said, they're about to slug it out tonight. It will be interesting, informative, insightful, and I hope that we learn a lesson or borrow a leaf from the Lagos example, whereby there were debates where we invited all the candidates. One of the candidates, we didn't attend any of the debates, and now the people are saying that we didn't hear you speak to us, so don't come and ask for a vote. It's becoming a bit more difficult. Of course, that can be remedied, but just to take lessons from this and understand the power and importance of speaking to the people that you want to govern. Looking forward to it.
Well, debates are not necessarily, they are not constitutional requirements, but they are conventions that have developed, particularly in our own jurisdiction. But they serve a very important purpose of allowing the electorate to know their customer, know KYC, know the man who is seeking your votes, and to interact with those candidates and to engage them, ask them questions, and assess their capability in terms of the ideas that they are proposing to the people. To that extent, it is good that the 5 leading contestants in the gubernatorial election in Delta State are stepping forward. Uvioma Agege, Great Ogboru, Kempela, Sheriff Oborewori, and Kenneth Gbagi, 5 leading parties. So the people of Delta State will have an opportunity. The debate is scheduled for 7 p.m. this evening on the Arise channel, and it will last for 2 hours, 30 minutes. And I would like to commend those 5 candidates who have stepped forward to say, look, we are confident enough to tell the people of Delta State what we want to do, what we are proposing. And I guess, you know, those 5 leading candidates are out there because none of them is an incumbent. In some other states, the incumbents ran away and said they didn't want to debate with other people for one reason or the other. But I don't think anybody should hold the electorate in contempt. And that's why this debate is important. The second thing, again, of course, is that we just discussed the meeting in Abuja by Inec and other major stakeholders in the election. And the appeal that political parties and candidates should not turn this into war. They should make it just a fair contest and go into it in the spirit of sportsmanship. Now, the stakes are really high in Delta State as in other places. And we just hope that apart from having a debate today, the various contestants would tell their supporters that, look, nobody's blood is worth being shed because of anybody's political ambition, and that the process in Delta State tomorrow will be very peaceful. That will be the expectation. But we wait till 7 p.m. when the candidates take the podium and begin to engage the electorate. And there's a lot at stake in Delta State in various areas of governance, the details of which will be obvious when the candidates file out to lay out their programs.
It is very shocking that with the level of, you know, what do I call it now, disrespect for the populace in Nigeria, debates are not made constitutional. And it's a reflection of our society. We've had people that run for office in this country up to the post of president that flagrantly disobeyed the people by not even debating when the people just wanted to see them espouse their ideas in debate. And that's why, please, we should push for it. That it should be part of our election cycle. If we can make it part of our constitution, the need for debates, leaders' debates, will go a long way. But Delta, what are the problems in Delta? The things these people will be debating on is the economy. Prior to 1997, Delta had a very boisterous economy. In Sapele, you had the paper mills, you had the rubber plantations. In Warri, the big hub for the oil economy. All of that, all gone now. In Ugeli, you had better glass. All of that, all gone now. Real estate sector, you had the Edewas, the Mosheshes, the Ogenevos, and co. All of that happened, went down the drain after 1997. And I said 1997 because that was when the intertribal fight started. In and around Ekurede, Shekiri, and some other parts of Warri. Shakiri and Ejo, and the fight lasted till about 2003, and there was even an extension till about 2006, 2007. Because 2006, 2007, there was pretty much occupation in most areas in Warri. And that dipped the economic prospect of that area. Top oil companies all gone. Shell, all gone. Shell used to have a very big estate then. All gone. Sold off. How can we bring back the economy to Delta? How can we fix security? Because the heightened level of youth restiveness started after that fight that made Delta lose most of its prospects. So there's going to be a lot about youth job creation, tackling the unemployment problem, tackling the security problem, also developing the states. Delta holds the record of one of the states that have 2 airports. One of those airports we forget in a hurry, Osubi Airstrip, was built largely by the private sector. And even before Osubi Airstrip, there was a helicopter, landing pad at Airport Road in Warri. So to show you the level of development that came to that area. We had Petroleum Training Institute, but all of that all gone today. So that's going to be the crux of the debate. How would you bring Delta back to the Delta of old? That used to be an economic hub, that also used to be a production hub, and they had a viable economy that people could lead decent lives in those areas. That will be the challenge for the 4 candidates that are up for the debate today.